It's President's Day in the United States, but I'm not feeling all that presidential these days. I am, on the other hand, feeling quite in the mood for a bit of poker, and nothing to whet my appetite better than the Sunday Million. 7,320 people agreed with me, and that's how many people played in yesterday's Sunday Million. Here's your highlight show, and this is your final 9. Air Abu is your leader going into the final table. He came third in the Sunday Million just over 3 months ago. 8 different countries represented among your final tablists, and the blinds will start out at 125,000, 250,000. David Tuckman in the booth today. Action on Ricard PM from Sweden. And he's going to shove it all in. 2.7 million. Just over 10 big blinds with the ace-9 of spades in kind of mid-ish position. Teo 96, not going to play the 7-deuce. Air Abu also not going to play. But as we scan the hands, we get a feeling that maybe Dino a lot is going to play this hand. 12.8 million chips behind. Dino a lot finished 4th in this event way back in 2008. He makes the call. And when I say he, could very easily be a she. Walter Bish gets out of the way, and it's heads up. Ricard PM's tournament life on the line. Needs to get lucky. Nothing there for him yet. Jack 7-3. Rainbow needs a 9 or running spades. I was going to say running straight cards. There's a spade or a 9 on the river. The Queen of Clubs. And Dino a lot eliminates Ricard PM in 9th place. The Swede takes home $11,346. 8 players remain. Teo 96 in the big blind. That is Theodoros Aydin-Opolopoulos. I'm butchering that name. I apologize. We'll just call him Teo 96. Nonetheless, big-time poker player, has some big scores live and online. He's from Greece, as if you couldn't tell from his name. Walter Bish in the cutoff seat. He's going to raise with the ace. Walter from the Russian Federation. King Paulie. That's Paul Hawken, a new up-and-coming player from Hamilton, New Zealand. He's already amassed nearly $500,000 in poker earnings. He is going to 3-bet from the small blind. Doesn't give Walter Bish any credit for a hand. Also has the ace blocker. Back over to Bish. And Bish is going to 4-bet. Back over to Paulie. Can you pull the trigger? Can you 5-bet bluff? Neither one of these players giving the other one credit for a hand. And Walter Bish wins that one. King Paulie, the first one to blink. Paul Hawken, quoting him, he says, "You need a logical brain and not get too emotional about it. It's possible in poker to make the right decision and still lose. It's also possible to make the wrong one and win." And I'll tell you, I agree with him on the emotion. If you can keep your emotion, if you can keep your ego out of the game, you will be better for it. Hand number 8, blind still 125,000, 250,000. Yanko 33 with 3.4 million. He's going to pick a better spot. King Paulie on the button. You imagine he'll raise this with an ace. And he does. 590,000. Air Abu from Ireland. Going to call with the Jack 10 offsuit. $10-9-3, nothing there for King Paulie. Air Abu with top pair, he's going to check it. Always interesting to see good players play made hands from out of position. It goes check, check. A heart on the turn, and that's going to give King Paulie the nut flush draw. Air Abu is going to bet a little bit more than half the pot, 897,000. Still has top pair. He also has a straight draw to go along with his top pair. And King Pauly's going to raise. I was curious to see how he would play the draw. Remember, he checked the flop, and then he raises the turn, and he gets Arabu to fold that one. King Pauly, aggressive play up to $14.5 million. And we're going to jump way ahead to hand 50. Blind's now 200,000, 400,000. It always amazes me week in and week out how different final tables play. This one fairly aggressive, but at the same time, nobody making that crucial, fatal mistake. We've only lost one player so far. Yanko 33, he's all in with King Queen. It's only got about 9 big blinds. You can't really blame him. Unfortunately for him, looks like he's going to walk into Arabu's Ace Queen. Arabu indeed makes the call. Me folds. Dino, not going to play this one either. And it will be Yanko 33 at risk. The Spaniard needs to get a little bit lucky. Not a great flop for him. Ace, King, Deuce. And Yanko 33 is going to need a king on the river. That's not going to do it. Neither player has a club in their hand, and Arabu is going to win this one with a pair of aces, eliminating Yanko 33 in 8th place. The Spaniard does take home $17,568. Hand 55, 7 players remain. Le Shark, 81, from the UK. Going to raise it, makes it 2x. And when I say 2x, I mean 2 times the big blind. As always, I want to thank you for watching this. If you like these highlight shows, tell your friends about it. Comment on it. Always curious what you guys think. Arabu in the big blind with Ace 3 of diamonds. You can also tweet me. Arabu going to 3-bet this to $1.57 million. Pay attention to the sizing. He 3-bets a certain amount where he theoretically could get away from it if he had to. If he got 4-bet, clearly could have folded. Flop comes out 9-5-4 after Le Shark calls. Arabu going to put the continuation bet out there. It's a small one, $975,000. You see a lot of good players do this sometimes where the pot's big. They'll actually bet really small. Their post-flop bet will sometimes even be smaller than their pre-flop bet. Le Shark calls. 5 of spades on the turn. Doesn't really change a bunch. I don't think either player is necessarily scared of the 5. Arabu is going to continue firing, this time $1.67 million. It looks like a value bet. It almost looks like he has something like, maybe something like queens. But Le Shark 81 not going to go anywhere. He is going to make that call. The pot now $8.9 million. On the river's a club, and it's a queen. Can Arabu fire that 3rd bullet? Wow, and Arabu moves all in. Action over to Le Shark 81. Can he make this call? No, he can't, and you can't blame him. Really tough spot for Le Shark 81. His tournament life on the line. Can't make the call, but you can't blame him. He could really only beat a bluff. 7 players remain, and if you want to be in this position next week, you can for free, but you're going to need the password, and that's coming later.
We are anticipation. Committed. Anonymous. Focused. Holding it in. Poker.
Welcome back to the Sunday Million Highlights Show. 7 players remain. Arabu on the top of our leaderboard with over 20 million chips, where he's going to give some of those away, and he's down to, say, 17 million chips. King Paulie right on his heels with 16.7 million. Hand 73, blind still 200,000, 400,000. LeShark 81 going to watch this highlight show and kick himself, but you can't blame him. Courageous move from Arabu, firing 3 bullets with just ace high. LeShark 81 could only beat a bluff. Action on me with 3.1 million. He might shove here, and he does. It's kind of a tough spot for anybody to make the call, but Dino is going to make this call. It's one thing to shove with ace-7. It's another thing to call with ace-7. But Dino, realizing that me can be shoving pretty light here, realizing that his range is not necessarily very strong, makes the call, and me up against it. His tournament life on the line, needs a 10 or a 9. On the river, 1 card to come. Not going to happen. 8 of spades on the river. And me, the Canadian, gone in 7th place. He'll earn himself $31,476. 6 remain. Blinds have jumped up to 250,000, 500,000. King Paulie in the cutoff seat with 7-8. I imagine maybe a raise is in order. There's the raise to 1.1 million. And this could be interesting. We could see a 3-bet. Oh, wow. Teo 96 moves all in. What a huge mistake, because now Arabu, he's all in right behind him. Wow. I mean, Teo 96, nothing wrong with being aggressive with the 5s. But why 3-bet all in? Why not 3-bet to, say, 2.7 million, 2.8 million? You can still get away from it then. Unbelievable. He's going to need a 5, or he will be gone just like that. And that's it. Both players with 2 pair. Arabu, obviously the winner in this case, and Teo 96. We talked about him before. He is gone in 6th place just like that. He had over 10 million chips. And does earn himself $45,384. And I never fault somebody for being aggressive. I love aggressive play. But you got to wonder, after a 1.1 million open from King Paulie, why not 3-bet it to, say, 2.6, 2.7, something along that. And when Arabu 4-bets, you can always let it go. That might be a hand he thinks about for a long time. Action on King Paulie. The 3-bet. We had no small blind here because we lost a player. Dino with the kings, and King Paulie could be in trouble. Dino trying to decide, do I 4-bet here? Or do I give my opponent enough rope to hang himself? We know Dino's not going to fold. Nope, he's going to shove it all in. Figures the pot is big enough. I can take it down right now. And who knows, maybe I can get called by worse. And he does get called by worse. King Paulie makes the call with queens. And Dino in great shape. Well, not anymore. I was going to say great shape to double up. Dino way behind now. Needs a king on the river. The 5 of spades on the river, and King Paulie eliminates Dino in 5th place. Tough way to go out for the Canadian. He gets it in good, but unfortunately for him, it's not to be. He'll take home $60,000, and 4 remain. LeShark shoves it all in on the button with Queen-Jack. I have no problem with this play at all. Unfortunately, he's probably going to get called. But he's got live cards. He's not really that big a dog. We'll take a look at the percentages. LeShark 81, a small dog. But he also had the fold equity. And I think with his stack, I like the shove. King 8-3, 2 spades out there. He needs help, though. A queen or a jack on the river to save him. That is neither a queen or a jack. The 8 of hearts and LeShark 81 from the UK, gone in fourth place, $77,592 in his pocket. Not really in his pocket, but you know what I mean. Blind still $250,000, $500,000. We didn't lose anybody for a while, and now they're dropping like flies. Walter Bish in the small blind. King Paulie shoves it all in. By the way, no deal has been made. A lot of times we see aggressive play when a deal has been made already. No deal here. Walter Bish raises. King Paulie shoves it all in. Bish makes the call. And this pot is 25 million chips. Ace, King, Deuce. 10 of hearts on the turn. They could theoretically chop this one up if a jack were to fall. Nope, it's another heart. And Walter Bish doubles up to over 25 million. King Paulie trying to use his chips to bully his opponent. It didn't work in that case. Paulie's going to raise to 1.1 million. He keeps his foot on the pedal. Staying aggressive. Araboo probably going to 3-bet here. There's the 3-bet to 2.57 million. Bish gets out of the way. Can you see a 4-bet coming? Can you just smell it? Nope, he's just going to call. King Paulie makes the call. Pot at 5.8 million chips. 8-3-3. Yes, Walter Bish probably kicking himself right about now. Araboo, continuation bet of 1.75 million. Three-handed, if you have ace-jack and you have 3-bet out of the blinds, you don't necessarily hate this flop. Paired board, you're probably still good. You figure you were good pre-flop, you're probably still good. King Paulie's going to raise. The raise doesn't make a ton of sense to me. You know, if King Paulie had a pair here, I mean, unless he had some sort of flush draw, it's really tough for King Paulie to have a 3 in his hand. Is he raising with an 8? Is he suddenly raising if he has pocket 7s or pocket 6s? And I got to imagine if he had jacks or queens or a hand like that, he probably would have 4-bet pre-flop. Nonetheless, he gets Araboo to fold. And King Paulie raises here, once again on the button. Walter Bish going to make the call here. Kind of hand he probably wants to see a flop with. Let me know what you think about that last hand. Does King Paulie's raise on the flop make any sense? What is he trying to represent? Walter Bish does 3-bet this. King Paulie with 9s. See, he's going to 4-bet, and this is exactly how I thought he would have played an overpair to the board last hand. The board was 8-3-3, and I think if King Paulie has 9s or higher, I think he 4-bets. There's the 4-bet from Paulie, and it gets Walter Bish to fold the Jack-9. King Paulie back up to 25.4 million. That's what I love about poker. Such an interesting game. Oh, wow. As aggressive as King Paulie has played, going to be very tough for Araboo to give him credit for a real hand. The raise from Araboo over to King Paulie. The New Zealand native. 3-bets to 2.5 million. Araboo only going to call. He wants to see a flop. He's also in position. Why not use his position? King, Jack 3, 2 clubs out there. Continuation bet from King Paulie. And Araboo might be able to just get away from this. He's going to make the call at least one time. See what happens. And not a lot happens there. 4 hearts on the turn. And in a deep stacked cash game, you can get somebody to lay down 1 pair. I don't think it's happening in a tournament. Not at this point, at least. These players just aren't deep enough relative to the blinds. King Paulie bets about 6 million and Araboo does fold. And King Paulie is now our chip leader, up to over 31 million.
We are 10,000 people in Brazil, holding our breath. We are alone. Hunters. Hunted. We are committed. Blessed. Calm. We are all in. We are poker.
Welcome back. Well, if you want to play in this tournament for free, we're going to give you the opportunity, and this is the password you've been waiting for. Berlin. Make sure you get in the game. I don't know about you, but I love the commercials. I'm not a big fan of commercials normally, but the new Stars commercials, they get my heart moving, I tell you. King Paulie at $34.5 million. Walter Bish, our short stack, at $16.9 million. No deal has been made. These players playing for a ton of money. All three players guaranteed six figures, but there's a huge pay discrepancy between first and third. Walter Bish raises on the button. King Paulie, I don't think so. He's going to 3-bet to $2.8 million. Arabu going to 4-bet this with Ace-King. Yep. The 4-bet shove from Arabu. I don't think anybody can call this. You can't call this. You can't call off with King 10. You can shove with King 10. You can really shove with any two because of the fold equity. But you can't call off. Arabu up to $25.9 million. Arabu raises. Anybody have any doubt that King Paulie's not going to 3-bet this one? Such an aggressive player. Always keeping his opponent on their heels. And unless you pick up a lot of hands against this guy, very, very difficult to play against. There's the 4-bet from Arabu. He's going to give his opponent just enough rope to hang himself. Does King Paulie take the bait? No. He's going to let it go. And Arabu up to almost 30 million chips. He takes the chip lead one more time. There's the raise from Bish. Now, Bish doesn't have that many chips. And if King Paulie is not careful here, he could find himself pot committed against Bish. Back over to Bish, and you have to imagine he's going to 4-bet here. Now, if he's going to shove, and it's about 11 million to win 18 million, and King Paulie finds himself in a spot where he's going to have to call. It was close, but he probably figured against his opponent's range, I'm doing okay. He makes the call. About a 3-2 dog. Well, not anymore. Now he's way behind. Ace-10 deuce. Needs a queen to make Broadway. Now only a queen will do it. That, my friends, is not a queen. And Walter Bish doubles up to almost 30 million chips. King Paulie, now the short stack with 14.2 million. Jump ahead to hand 155. Queen 4 for King Paulie. Going to raise to 1.3 million. Obviously hoping to take it down. Arabu going to see a flop with the gap-suited connector. 10-8-8. Nothing there for King Paulie. Probably doesn't feel like his queen high has showdown value. Going to have to bet this, though. There's the continuation bet, 1.2 million. Arabu is going to make the call. And if a heart falls on the turn, this could get really interesting. Well, it's a 4. King Paulie with 2 pair. As we can see, way behind, though. 3 diamonds on the board. Neither player has a diamond. No reason for Arabu to check. I know some players who will check behind, practice a little bit of pot control, also induce a bluff if they're deeper. But in this case, no reason to do so. Arabu bets. King Paulie makes the call. Pot over 10 million chips. Another 8, both players with a full house. King Paulie checks. Just a matter of how much is Arabu going to bet, and can he get paid off? Bets $3.87 million. And King Paulie makes the call. The value bet works for Arabu. He's up to almost 35 million chips. King Paulie on life support. He is under 6 million. Well, jumps ahead to 6.5 million, but still only about 11 big blinds. He's going to shove it all in. I think Arabu is going to make the call with the ace. He does. Walter Bish going to get out of the way, I assume. He does. And we'll see this one. King Paulie with live cards. Not really in that bad shape, but does need to catch. Pot nearly 14 million chips. Well, if you're not going to flop a pair, this is the next best thing. He's open-ended. Needs a 7, a queen, a jack, or a 10 on the river. The ace on the river, and Arabu makes 2 pair, eliminating King Paulie. That's Paul Hockin. The Hamilton, New Zealand native earns himself $117,000. Finishes in 3rd in the Sunday Million. Add that to an already impressive poker resume, and we are heads up. Walter Bish, Arabu. Blinds at 400,000, 800,000. A raise from Arabu. A 3-bet from Walter Bish. Back over to Arabu. As always, the player on the button acts first pre-flop, but gets to act last post-flop. Queen 5-4. Really not much for either player. Arabu with a gut shot wheel draw. Bish with 22.9 million chips, trying to decide how much to bet. He bets 3.89 million. And is Arabu going to float? Is he going to take one off? He is in position, and that's exactly what he's going to do. King of clubs. And if you're Bish, these are cards that you can use to represent, but it's very tough. You're out of position. Your opponent's got you covered. Remember, he raised, you 3-bet, and he smooth called. What did he smooth call you with? Walter Bish not going to fire another bullet. And Abu is going to check behind. Maybe thinking his ace high has showdown value. Bish hits his 8 on the river. Bish is going to check, hoping it goes to showdown. When your opponent checks twice like that, yeah, they could be giving up, but more often than not, they probably have some sort of a pair. They have something they think they can go to showdown with. Arabu probably reevaluating whether he thinks his ace can win coming to showdown. He doesn't think so. He's going to try to bluff at it. 6.7 million. And Walter Bish makes the call. Great call from Bish. He's up to 42.2 million. Arabu down to 30 million. Bish is going to extend his lead a little bit as we jump ahead to hand 201. Blinds 400,000, 800,000. Bish makes the raise. Arabu calls. $877, 2 diamonds out there. Trip 7s for Abu. And Bish with the flush draw. This could get nasty. Abu's going to check. Set the trap. Action over to Bish. And he's certainly going to bet. He doesn't mind building this pot up. With a paired board, He still has the ace high. He probably thinks he's still good right now, even without hitting his diamond. Well, he might not think he's good anymore. Arabu check raises. Fairly predictable. You'd imagine Bish is probably going to re-raise this. He does. And now it's just a question, does Arabu try to get it all in right here? Or does he try to play it tricky? So hard to put your opponent on trips. Arabu going to re-raise him one more time. The writing is on the wall. Yep, Bish is going to shove it all in. Arabu obviously not going to fold. Bish probably hoping, well, even if the guy has a pair, any diamond gives me the win. Maybe my ace gives me the win as well. I have 12 outs, right? Wrong. He needs a diamond, and it can't be the queen of diamonds. Deuce of clubs not going to do it. And just like that, the tables have been turned. Arabu back up to $57.5 million. Bish down to $15.6 million. Blinds remain at 400,000, 800,000. Arabu raising on the button. Bish with under 20 big blinds right now. He's going to shove it all in. I don't think Arabu is going to fold this. Nope. He's going to make the call. Figures, you know what? Maybe my opponent's got a weak ace, but even if he has a weak ace, I'm not doing bad with king, queen. In fact, he's got him dominated. Bish needs a 9. Well, a jack would chop it up. 3 of diamonds not going to do it, though. Bish, Walter Bish, from the Russian Federation, gone in second place, earns himself $161,000. I want to remind everybody, there was no deal made, and this is your winner, Arabu. He came third in the Sunday Million just over 3 months ago. Obviously learned a lot from that experience, because today he wins the championship. He's from Ireland and earns himself $219,000. This was a tough final table, littered with very impressive poker players. 7,320 players started this journey, and only one person can call themselves champion. That's Arabu from Ireland. I hope you enjoyed the show. As always, all the highlights will be here on PokerStars.tv. Until next time, I'm David Tuchman. Reach for the stars.